Do you know what I want as well as curved stations? Banked tracks. Like, are you listening, Transport Fever? Banked tracks. Just bank the track. Just imagine, like, you know, you've seen, like, you know, in the UK we have a lot of windy sort of tracks. Like the West Coast Main Line is very windy as it goes up and down. It'd be really cool, you know, if I could see my trains going, you know, banking at speed. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Welcome to another episode of the Toolbox, where I aim to share the best mods and assets I use in my builds while giving you the links to download them, and massive props to the creators who made them. I did that pretty good, right? Did you like the way I freeze at the end as well? Do I end that recording there? Or do I carry on? I'm not sure. In this episode, we're taking a look at the Ultimate Station mod by Enzojz. Yeah, that's right. Still got my script. Still got it. I'm going to read the description and then we're just going to jump in. I'm not going to blabber on like I did last week. I think, you know, it was a bit too much. It was pretty good, but it was a bit too much. Anyway, notes. The Ultimate Station mod allows you to create curved and straight stations with a wide range of customizable options that allow you to create stations of all different shapes and sizes with the ability to raise and height. I've written here, raise and height. No, I haven't. I've written raise the height. With the ability to raise the height of your tracks and platforms, this mod really does fulfill some of our creative needs on Transport Fever 2. With the mod still being updated, we even have a nice little touches such as platform and track barriers in the form of walls and fences included. I really like that, by the way, because it just finishes off your platform a little bit more. I really do like it. There's still a fair few bits and bobs I'd like to see on this. I'll explain more over on the test bench. So here we are back on the test bench, and I'm going to give you a very basic tutorial of how to create a curved station, highlight some of the assets, some of the little add-ons, some of the little perks, and yeah, and show you how I do it basically. So let's go into our train tab and select the Ultimate Station. I've already pre-selected the passenger icon, so it's second on my list here. I've got a pre-selected length of 320 meters with a track count of 2. I've pre-selected high-speed tracks. You can have the layout information selected. Basically, it will give you the layout information of the platforms itself, their distance, their height, etc. I'm going to turn that off because it's far too much information that I just don't need right now. My platform width is 10. I've got a radius of nothing at the moment. If you select that left or right, obviously it will change the radius of the track, bend it left or right. My platform height is 915. It's at 915 because I know that that's pretty decent for the trains I use on it. If your trains are slightly higher or slightly lower, you can raise or lower this. I highly recommend that you pre-select your track height, your platform height, sorry, before you drop this. And if you're not sure about what platform height you do, I would simply drop the station down, go into my assets, find a train, which I've already been doing, find a train asset that you may already have, pop it down, and just get an idea about the height of your platform. On the side note, as you've probably noticed, there's a big gap between the train and the platform edge. So what we can do is go into configure here, and we can go into what's called the overlapping modifier. Select that, select your platform. This will copy the whole length of your platform. And basically, you can use these here to bring your platform closer to your train. And that's where I know it's an extra meter basically extended. And that brings my platform nice and close to my train. And I'm reasonably happy with that height as well. There's a little bit of a step there, but nothing's perfect. You could go into it. You could basically, what I do is I completely delete this, go back into it, and maybe raise it up a little bit. But that's okay, and I'm reasonably happy with that. I use 10 meters by default on my platform widths because if I'm using multiple platforms and there's sims here and sims here, I like the nice space as well between them. Just something that I like visually that I think looks a little bit better. Anyway, let's get down to business. What we're going to do is create a curved bit of platform. So we're going to go in, configure, and we're going to lay our track first. So we're going to go to high speed, and we're just going to lay our tracks. So we have our 2 bits of track here that we want to curve off to the right. I've laid both, and there's a quick tip for you. If you're creating a curved platform, and say if I wanted to create 4 bits of track here, or four curved platforms, so say if I wanted to know a platform here, then another pair of track and another platform, I would create now the next 10-meter layer of platform, the next 2 bits of track, and curve that one to the right. Simply because if I tried to curve this bit of track here individually, it would error into this one and wouldn't curve because there'd be a collision. Okay, and it's really important that you lay all your track as well first. So what I would do is just a quick tip on how I find it easier and I don't get myself into a mess, is that's what I would do. So what we're going to do is we're going to curve this outside right bit of track first. I'm going to choose a point where I want it to curve. I'm going to say about where this clock is. And we have two options about how we want to... Sorry, we have two options of how we can curve our track. We have a directional radius modifier and we have a numeric radius modifier. Personally, I prefer the directional radius modifier because I find it a little bit more flexible. I find that it has more sort of curvature options, but the numeric radius modifier is also very good. The numeric radius modifier basically uses numbers. So if we select here like we wanted to, I'm going to select this button here, basically means I want to use the track to go this way. And if I select 1000, we get quite a nice curve there, but it's quite nice steep enough. We're going to get a lesser of a curve there, just a tiny one. And if we go to 100, it's going to go extreme. As you can see, there's no in between with it. So, and I find it a bit more finickier if you start maybe going extreme, then backing it off a little bit as well. I find it a bit too finicky for my liking. So what I do is I use the directional radius modifier. I select that. And what we get is we get these little nubbins, basically, that enable us to choose where we're going. As an example, as what I was talking about, if I tried to bend this to the left, it's going to get a collision for the rest. So if I bent this bit of track first, then tried to build my platform would be fine. It would follow the curvature of the track. But if I then tried to build another bit of track, it would continuously try to go straight rather than curve. You could try do it manually and curve the track at the same angle, but you'll probably find that you might run into a few sort of problems. It'd be quite long-winded and probably drive you crazy, like I found out. So what I'm going to do is my outside bit of track first. I'm going to select the 2. I think that's quite a nice bit of curvature there. Not only that, it's going to highlight what we can do with the platforms afterwards. And I'm going to confirm that. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to use our... we want this bit of track to follow this. Now, rather than, like I said, manually selecting the directional radius and getting this to follow, what we do have is a reference modifier, which is really cool. So we're going to select that. We're going to select where our bend starts. We're going to select this arrow. And look at that. The track is going to line up because it's copying the track next to it. It's going to line up next to it and create a curvature, which is really cool and nice and easy as well, which is really nice. And then we have our curved bit of track. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my platforms and I'm going to use the bulldozing tool and I'm just going to delete back these platforms all the way to where the track starts is straight again. So there, to be safe. I'm going to select my platform again and I'm going to build it. And as you can see, the platform, oops, a daisy, and I've messed up there. Lovely, high speed. I'm going to replace that. Be careful with that, by the way. Replace that back to track. There we go. As I'm building out the platform, it's following the curvature of the track and filling in the space in between, as I have an autosave. And there we go. A curved bit of platform. I think this mod is fantastic, especially if you've got some multiple tracks that want to come into one station, but you're a bit restricted on space and you're surrounded by a lot of city. I find this is really helpful in generating the curve in the direction that you want these tracks to go earlier on. And I really like it. You could do a few different things as well. What you could do is you could back this off, create another curve here, and bring this one closer and back this off. What you can do is then you can get your switch or junction in closer to the edge of the platform, again, to save space. Looks a bit more natural. Looks like it looks a little bit more interesting. I find it really good. If you lay your platform now on this side, it will basically follow the direction of the track, which is really nice. Obviously, it's not at the width that I want it, but importantly, it is at the height, which is my main thing. If I wanted to widen this platform, I just go into the geometry, platform width modifier. Go like this. I like mine 10 meters, so I know that this one here is increments of 1 meter. I know the text is quite hard to read, but once you use this enough, you learn. I know that this goes in increments of 1 meter at the very back here, and I want to maximize mine to 10 meters, so I just select that until I get to 10 meters. And there we have it. And then we're going to confirm that that's the width I want that. And there we have our curve station. That's the basics. It has some really nice sort of add-ons to it. I'd like to see more if we go to entries for passenger buildings, I'd like to see more buildings added to this because they're really quite basic. It's quite nice that we can add a building there and have our track wrap around, and maybe you can get a bit creative with your roads, etc. That's quite nice. I'd like to see some more colors. You can change the colors of some things. I think if we go to components, I believe sometimes there's a color tab here. I'm not really sure, but the colors are quite limited. Obviously, what we also need to do, these tracks are electrified. To electrify your tracks, you literally select the catenary switch here and you press that on there and your tracks become electrified. Obviously, you still need to do this if you're using like a third rail mod or anything like that, where the track itself is electrified and there is no catenary. It won't add catenary, but it will electrify the track. Just make sure you do it. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems if you're using electrified trains where they will not visit the platform. Obviously, the usual, we've got some benches here, which I'd like to be a little bit more customizational. Like, obviously, they're following the center. I'm not sure, actually. Should we add one here? See that as well, the angles of those benches, because they're still straight. I'd like to see a little bit more flexibility, maybe with that, with the benches and your bins. You've got some bins here as well to add. You've got your bridges, which are quite nice. So we can add our bridge here and here. Again, it's something that I'd like to see a little bit more added. Once you've added your bridge, the step access will become available to you. These are quite cool because we can have different distances and different widths of our step accesses here, which is really quite nice, both sides. Again, something I'd like to see a little bit customizable, maybe some old versions, some new versions, a few different styles would be quite nice with that. But there's that. Obviously, you've got your platform roof, which is really smart because, again, it follows the width of your platform. Again, just niggly little things. You know, I don't think we're at the level of technology in the world where this small little post could hold the whole width of this. So that'd be quite nice if it could add maybe some... Utilize this space a little bit more, is what I'm saying, with your assets and your different bits and bobs. Obviously, we've got our signs and clocks that we can plop as well. Again, follow that middle trend all the way down. And that's about it, really. You know, again, like, there's a few different bits and bobs that I'd like to see added. You know, some colors, customization. You've also got your platform underpasses there. Sorry, I didn't notice. But that's basically how you create a curved station at the very basic level with the Ultimate Station mod. So I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to drop a like and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more.